Welcome to another episode of the Mystics on a Mission show. I'm here with the lovely Cora Poage. Hi, Cora.
Hi, Hannah.
I'm so excited to have her on the show today. We're kind of in the same priestess circle, and she's just really incredible. So let me tell you what she does for a living. So Cora Poage is a certified holistic health coach, and she was trained through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. She also holds a master's degree in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica. Her specialty is helping her clients align with their soul and the truth, fall in love with themselves, and align with their unique and sacred service on the planet. Cora believes that when we align with our soul and our truth collectively, we create heaven on earth. And I really have to say, something that I feel is so special about Cora is that she really lives it, and that she really shares about the messiness that comes from really following the voice of our soul. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense, and sometimes it hurts a lot, and sometimes you have to make really, really tough decisions. And I think what's so incredible about Cora is that she really talks about it, and she says it the way she experiences it. And I think that's so different and pretty hard to find. So I'm really, really excited to have her on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I so appreciate what you're saying too, because it feels true to me that I'm really open about the path and my experiences, and I love it when other teachers and guides and coaches are also really allow themselves to be vulnerable in sharing what's true for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the only intention that I have for this show, is that there are more conversations out there that allow people to really admit what it's like to run a spiritual business, and to have all these initiations, as I call them, because every single thing that happens to us or that shows up in our life is, for me, an initiation. And oftentimes we see things like, oh, this is how I made $1 million this year, and this is how I reached this milestone, and that's awesome and amazing. But for me, it was so healing when I first started my business to also hear the stories about how people crashed and burned, and how they invested a ton of money and it didn't work out, or how they followed their soul and everybody thought they were crazy, but it ended up working out, or not working out, or leading them somewhere else. So something that I really value is, this honest conversation, because the more that I get to know other business owners, the more I see, oh God, that happened to them as well. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who doesn't know what they're doing. And especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, I feel like oftentimes we're really just jumping into something that we don't even know is going to take us anywhere. And it's really, again, I'm so grateful to have you on the show and to get your perspective on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey. So you are helping people experience heaven on earth right now. What was your path here, and why are you so passionate about this?
Oh, wow. So I've always had a really strong connection to source and spirit, God, angels, and at times I have felt like I would rather be living there being heaven, there being other realms than on earth. And I have felt that I didn't receive the human guidebook, or that I'm an alien, or that I'm too sensitive. And I've heard a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people share similar experiences with their earth time. And so my way of navigating this planet is by creating the most beautiful heaven on earth experience possible within myself, internally. And from there, my journey has been my externals shifting to match the heaven on earth internally. So that's what I live for myself, and that's what I also then help others with and coach on too.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I would also love to hear a little bit about the challenges that you may have encountered, because I know that um, I have a very similar experience than you. My first memory of being on this in this body is thinking, oh no, this is wrong. I should be able to shapeshift. I should be able to fly. And even to this day, I'm so sensitive that I see into the spirit world sometimes, and I see guides and angels and chakras and all that kind of stuff. And it feels so good to be there, but there is also a reason why I have this body and why I'm here. And for me, it was really important to learn to come back to this body and to, take this stuff seriously, because in the very beginning, it was hard for me to, I kept thinking, oh, well, I could leave, like this isn't so permanent. And that might be true in a spiritual sense, but we can only really experience this life to its fullest potential when we really let ourselves be here. So one of my personal challenges was, um, you know, being here, but not being of here. And that was so incredibly challenging. And so I wonder, did you encounter those similar challenges, or what was hard for you to get to this place?
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And it's, for me, I'm now all in to the soul having a human experience journey. And I just had to accept that who I was, that I was a highly sensitive, deeply spiritually connected being. And that meant that my life and lifestyle might look very, very different from a vast majority of people. For example, I spend most of my time alone, a lot of my time alone, because that's where I reboot. I connect with my spiritual guides. I spend most of my time in nature. I live on an island that's very low population of people and filled with nature, and that has fed me. I'm not in a city because that was overstimulating for me, and I've just learned that it started with fully accepting my quirks and really my who I really am, and then not making apologies for that, but owning it. And I'm really clear with friends and people I'm dating that about how I take care of myself and sleep. For example, when I go into my dream state, I feel like I get to travel all the places that I love to travel, and so sleep is so important. And so people in my life know that I'm going to be getting 9 or 10 hours a night, most likely. And just learning how to take care of myself has been huge. And then also I remember I even put this up on Facebook 6 months ago or something like that. They have life events on Facebook. I'm all in to the earth, to this life, to this experience. And I don't think I ever was before then. So I'm also way more, it's just an intention to be fully here now, because I signed up for this. And to act like I didn't is a little bit, I feel like it's almost like someone giving me a golden ticket to a really amazing ride and me going, I don't think so. Like, I'm fully here. And I've learned to really not only embrace it and accept it, but actually love the humanness as much as I love the spiritual aspects of life too.
I love what you said. I had a similar experience just recently. I just participated in my first ayahuasca ceremony, and it was really interesting because being in the spirit world was so homey for me. Like, that's what I know. I know what this feels like. I was experiencing the same kind of bliss that I experience in my everyday life. It was like, yeah, this is my family. This is what it's supposed to be like. I was so comfortable while everybody else was like throwing up violently and crying and screaming. I was just like, yeah. Yeah, thank you for bringing me home, Pachamama. And then when I went out of the experience, I was like, this is cool. I looked at a wall and it was like, that's amazing. Look at this arrangement of atoms, like how brilliant and incredible. And sometimes I just walked to the supermarket, and the other day I saw a baby hedgehog and I started crying in the middle of the street because who makes up this kind of perfection? It's incredible. And it's really, it's amazing when we can be all in. And for me, that was really the hardest thing I've ever done in life, is to make that decision and to not have one foot out the door and then, kind of like dancing in and out, but to really be all in. And even now that I've really made this conscious decision, just like you, I still find little ways, like places where I haven't fully committed to life, like where I'm still like, nah, I don't know, in relationships, and saying yes to people who, might not understand me. And then, things like that. And I know that also in the past year, you've made some pretty tough decisions. You moved from New York to Hawaii, which must have been a big, big change for you. And then also in your personal life, your relationship your love life has changed drastically. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you learned there, and what, if you're still in the process, obviously maybe there is no learning experience yet, but can you just tell us a little bit about what that was like for you?
Absolutely. So about a year and a half ago, I just heard to sell all my items or give away all my material items and leave New York and just be nomadic and travel. And I was married at the time. I'm still officially, technically married, but our divorce papers are submitted. But I knew like the deeper calling was to walk. And that's what I kept hearing, walk, walk, walk. And when I first got the vision, it was like Jesus walking by himself in the desert. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, that's intense. But as it sunk in and I just let the next steps come through me, it just became more clear that it wasn't, that was a vision. It was to guide me. It wasn't exactly what I was meant to do, or at least not yet. And so my version of that is I call modern mystic. Being a modern mystic is one suitcase, 1.5 suitcases, and a one-way ticket. And I went from New York to LA. I left my marriage. I left my animals. I left my home life. I left New York. And I just said, I'll just follow the path wherever it leads me. And so I spent 6 months going from LA to Northern California to Peru to Australia to Kansas, where I grew up, to the East Coast again, and just going where I was meant to go. And then I ended up meeting a guy on Match.com, and he happened to live on Kauai and invited me to come visit the island. And I said yes, and got on the flight to Hawaii and heard, you're going home, you're going to stay. And I looked around and went, interesting. And then I never got on my return flight, and I've been here ever since. So it's been powerful. All I know is that I know nothing, that I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. All I do is just stay in the moment. My only commitment in life is to presence. And in the present moment, what's meant to come through me comes through me, especially if I just get out of the way. And so that's how my business flows through me. That's how my relationships flow. That's how my day unfolds. And yeah, that's how I'm meant to live. And it doesn't mean I'm not supposed to be married. It doesn't mean I'm always going to live on Kauai. I just feel like the most true version of aliveness for me is one spontaneous moment of authentic expression to the next. That's it. How does God want to use me? How does the spirit energy want to be manifested? I don't know, but I keep showing up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is so beautiful. Yeah. It's really funny because I heard you talk about this a couple of months ago, and then I felt like, oh yeah, cool. I'm doing this, and I was doing it in my life, and then, my business was doing well and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden I thought, man, Hannah, you're really holding like this part of your life back, like my finances, my money, living situation, and business, like all this primal stuff where I needed the most surrender and the most help was what I wasn't willing to surrender at all. Like I always, I would sit down and channel visions for my business, and I would sit down and, ask for an action plan. But even then I realized that I always needed to, have a plan so that I could approve it, so that I could feel in control. And it's really interesting how sometimes I'm even using my spiritual practice. It's like my ego is using my spiritual practice, and then I'm kind of like manipulating it a little bit, and then it really doesn't feel so great. So for me, hearing you talk about this and understanding it only a little bit is very interesting. And now that I look back, I just really learned that the things that I don't surrender are the things that I need most to surrender. For example, needing a plan, needing to know what's going to happen next, needing, thinking that I need to always feel a certain way, and not getting the courage to really jump in and just be guided in the moment. So yeah, it's really interesting because I feel like over time I understand more and more and more and more, and it's always the same thing that I'm learning. And yeah, it's really cool.
It really is, and I love that you're recognizing that how I look at it is sometimes there's a discrepancy between knowing all of this and that this is how I'm meant to live and actually living it. And I can teach it and I can write it, but am I living it? And one thing I look for is what areas of my life am I trying to control, like you're speaking of. Because one of my teachers says what we think we are controlling is actually controlling us. And two, those are just the areas where I'm not trusting. I'm not trusting. And to me, that is really helpful because it's like, okay, well, so for me, that most recently has been actually romantic relationship. So trying to control different relationships. And so why am I doing that in that area? Well, I don't trust. I'm not trusting. Well, why? Well, maybe I deep down don't feel like romantic partnership is actually for me. Oh, wow. Okay, why don't I just accept that and that maybe and move forward? Or maybe it's that the person that I'm trying to control isn't my person and I'm trying to force it. Okay, let me just accept that. And so I love personally what you're saying about looking at the areas where I am trying to control, because that gives brilliant feedback to my next opportunity for letting go and surrender.
That's awesome. And I love it. I love to even play it like a game. So sometimes I always tell my clients, just stop with all the introspection and just look at your life and try and see, like, where in your life do you see something other than total harmony? Like, where do you perceive some kind of struggle, or where do you look and you go, ugh, that's your teacher. And it's so awesome because, the phrase "as above, so below" isn't just an empty phrase. It really is true. When we are experiencing inner peace, there is nothing out of harmony in our external world. And it's really cool to play it like a game, like you said, to look at where am I resisting something? Where am I trying to control? And, what do I see in my life circumstances that I perceive as out of harmony? Because I feel like oftentimes I think to myself, oh, everything's perfect, everything's totally fine. And then the next thing is being revealed to me. I'm like, cool, so I get to do that too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love looking at it like a game, like a video game even. And I don't look, in fact, for me, I actually don't expect things to be always feel in balance and always feel awesome, because I live my life on the edge of my comfort zone, leaping into the unknown, following what scares me, like just like bring it, let's do this, because I can't live any other way. I've tried and I get bored and or not bored, but I get restless, and it's not my style. So I'm used to living in a certain level of discomfort all the time. And I love that, because it's like aliveness, right? But when something feels off, that's different, like off. So, for example, I was co-leading recently. I was co-leading a trip down to Peru in February, and it was feeling just off and forced, and it wasn't flowing. And I did what you just said. I just assessed my life, and I went, this is what I'm waking up in the morning thinking about, worrying about, trying to control. What's going on here? And then I realized, oh, this isn't true. This isn't flowing. So I took the steps to shift that trip, and now we're going in July, and it's all unfolding beautifully. And so it's fun. Like, I took it too seriously for like this much time, a smidge of time. And for me, what that looks like is, I make things life or death. # spiritual drama. Like, oh my gosh, what's my shaman going to say? And is the retreat center going to give us our money back? And oh my gosh, my co-leader is going to be so mad. And that's the ego's job, to like get me all in a huff. But I've learned through time that that's okay. I can give myself that momentary human fear fit, and then just take the action, play the game. And it's this experience blew me away. Like, the retreat center wrote me back and said, we'll move all your money to the July trip, no problem. And I wrote her back and I just said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She said, you're family to us. You're family to us. And it's just beautiful. Yeah. So following what's true, even when it feels crunchy and hard and those conversations aren't fun. I think sometimes that's tough for spiritual seekers to recognize. At least it has been for me. When I'm following my truth and in the flow, it is not always soft and fluffy and sweet. Like, I think there can be a misunderstanding there. It's real. It's like, we're in human bodies. No one signed up for easy. And yet it's so fulfilling and satisfying to move through the fear, the discomfort, the vulnerability.
I love that. So something that I started in the past couple of weeks is that I stopped wanting things. And I stopped asking for things. I stopped delegating things to God. And it's incredible how many times I wanted to ask for something, because I know I'll get it if I ask for it. That's just the way nature works. It's just a metaphysical law. Every question gets an answer. That's just something that is totally beyond me. But I also knew that I just didn't want to meet God that way, because God always has a better plan, or the God always knows better. And why would I limit myself that way? Because anything that I dream up is always going to be, a smaller version of what's really planned for me. And so and I'm still totally in the process of it, is that I say thank you. That's the only prayer. The only prayer that I have is help, and help meaning I surrender this. I don't know. I surrender this. I really don't know. Second prayer that I have is thank you. And that's my biggest thing right now. Whatever comes, thank you. The other day, I crashed my bike into a wall. Thank you. Just anything that happens, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I'm not the one, Well, my ego isn't the one who gets to say what I'm meant to experience in life. Like like you said, I signed up for this. Like God and I made a plan before I came here. I'm not going to be a snotty human. I'm not going to be a bitchy soul now and be like, no, I want out. No, I said, yes, let's play this game. Let's say yes to it all. So my first prayer is really help. Second, thank you. And the third, wow. And it's really funny how it has shifted to really just thank you and wow now, and how awesome it is to trust the process. And I feel like it's so easy to want to manifest things or to want things to be a certain way. And something that has been so incredibly pivotal for me was to just say yes to whatever comes, to just say thank you for whatever comes. Doesn't have to make any sense, doesn't have to, I don't have to know where it leads, but to just say thank you. And it's really funny that even when I'm in this pain or in this confusion, when I don't resist it, like you said, it doesn't last long. You were in the story of this is not what should be happening for such a short amount of time, and then it was really possible for God to intervene and to come in and to guide you to a better place, because that's the only thing that can happen anyway. The only way is up anyway, and it can only get better anyway. So I totally love what you said, because oftentimes people come to me and they say, oh, Hannah, you're a spiritual business coach. Can you teach me how to manifest? And then I say, no, that's not really. I want you to experience this fully. Don't want you to get your desires. I want you to get what you want. I want you to experience this. And so I think you're just such a beautiful model of that.
Thank you. I love this. This is one of my favorite topics, because to me, manifestation can become another control freak behavior. Speaking from a past control freak self, first I tried to control like my weight in my body. Then I tried to control my finances. Then I tried to control my business. Then I tried to control my spiritual life, especially through manifestation and law of attraction. And then at some point I went, who's the one trying to manifest? It's the ego. My ego is the one that wants anything. My soul and my spirit know, capital K, that what is for me will come through me. And I may not know what that is ahead of time. And so for me, this is how I've shifted in manifesting. And this happened about 2 years ago. I used to be all about the vision boards, all about reading my ideal life out loud in the present tense until it happened. And it was working. But somehow I got to this place of going, I'm missing something here. It's like I'm not allowed, like I'm crowding out the magic somehow. And I decided my only manifestation and mantra, like yours, thank you, was I'm a vessel, I'm a conduit for magic and miracles. I allow them to flow through me with grace and ease, and I just say thank you. And that's it. And my life flowed from there in the most miraculous way, leading me to the life I'm living now, where I pinch myself every morning. But I had to say, me trying to manifest my life is like holding a broken pencil and drawing stick figures. When I get out of the way, the higher power comes through with a paintbrush and it's painting like Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. My imagination in its most active form still can only create 1% of what is possible in life. So for me to even try to predict what I would love is rather inefficient of my time and energy. So even yesterday, a girlfriend from college called me and said, I just have to talk to you. Like, I'm following you on Facebook. You seem so happy. What's happening? How are you doing this? Do you set goals? And I was like, nope. My only goal is to be fully present in every moment, allowing God to use me, the miracle of life to come through. That's it. And I'll say, sometimes like through me, I'll say, wow, I would love to be a mom. But that's very different than I'm going to manifest motherhood because I want it. Because it's like, totally different energy.
Mm.
One is the love without attachment coming from spirit in through me. One is like, I want to be a mom so I feel fulfilled and I leave a legacy and I blah, 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 whatever it might be. It's different.
Mm. Oh God, amen, sister. Amen. This is amazing. I feel like a question that I personally get a lot, because oftentimes I'm just like the weird one sitting in the corner smiling while everybody else is like freaking out about the canceled flight and about, this or that. And I'm just like sitting in the corner, just giggling. The summer I was sitting on an airport and my plane was broken. And so, it didn't happen, and I was told that I would have to wait 48 hours, and I was really I was eating pretzels and reading about orgasms and just smiling to myself, and I could see that people were looking over and just thinking, what the hell is wrong with this one? I was having the time of my life. It was really awesome. And then sometimes people ask me more practical questions like, what's the course you took? Who's the coach you're working with? And, all of these things are so, so, so helpful. But if I'm being completely honest, my sense of inner peace and my state of serenity, which, by the way, does not leave no matter what happens, even if my ego is freaking out, beneath that, it can never be taken away. I can always drop deeper, and I'm always arriving at this state of serenity and joy. And when people ask me how to access that, it's usually never something that they like hearing, but it's the truth from my perspective. It's that serenity comes when I don't need things to be any different than they are, when I don't have a preference, when I just really don't care. This is when I'm totally serene, when I don't think reality should be any different than it is presenting itself to me in any given moment. And that's a tough thing to learn, because we can't experience that with our monkey mind running the show, or our inner child going crazy, or us believing our own thoughts, or us giving our ego power over our lives, or thinking that we should, kill the ego, or thinking that we should have a quiet mind, all this struggle that we create. And so it's really cool that you're talking about this, about the fact that we can use those seemingly useful practices and make them very inefficient. And sometimes I love creating a vision board. When the goddess smacks me in the face during a meditation, she gives me a huge download. Hell yeah, I'll make a beautiful Pinterest board. But what's the attachment that we have to it? And like your teacher says so beautifully, sometimes the things we own us. And it's really cool when we can see that.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love what you're saying, because to me, suffering is a resistance to what is. Any resistance to what is. And so it's way easier. Like, let's just be real. It's way easier to surrender to what is when I love what's in front of me, when it is my preference, when it was how I wanted things to go or thought I wanted. It's a lot more challenging to like accept what is when it's not. I'll just go for it and share that. This is funny that I'm sharing this, but it's coming through, so I'm going to. I was in a relationship recently, and I was about ready to romantic relationship. I was 2 days away from going to from flying to Australia when he told me that he'd slept with his ex-girlfriend, and clearly not my preference. But I went, oh, and my response was not forced spiritual, like, I understand, I accept it, which is such bullshit. But I was like, well, that was an interesting choice. And I said, and he said, I'm not gonna apologize, because I was following what was true for me in the moment, and I needed to complete something with her. And I said, I hear you. I don't want you to apologize, but I would love to know that you know the impact this is having on me in my life. And that was so beautiful, because to me, that's the magical middle ground. And not to be so like, everything is beautiful and magical no matter what it looks like. Go sleep with whoever, right? And not like, F you, you met, like, this was, you just ruined my life. No. I hear that he followed his truth. I do. And I would love for him to take full responsibility for the impact that it had on my life. Just like I took full responsibility for the impact that leaving Ben and walking away from that marriage and completing that had on Ben's life or my dog's life. Like, we are interdependent beings, and there is going to be the energy impact, but we don't need to take over responsibility and then apologize for our truth. But we do, to me, spiritual integrity and responsibility is the recognition that there's an impact. This is what I'm playing in right now that's so powerful. And I share all this to say that would not have been my preference. What happened with Australia and the whole trip, canceled my flight, stayed here on Kauai, had one of the most beautiful holidays of my life, here alone, just being with myself and with nature, and had one of the most incredible New Year's Eves, have met I've had these beautiful dates with really awesome people, and I know none of that would have flowed if I stayed in a resistance and a why me, or like a this is so hard state around it all.
Something really resonates with me there, because I feel like the big paradox is when we don't want or need or desire anything, we get something that's pretty amazing. And then when it's not this ego validation, we get even more. So oftentimes I'm just living my life thinking, whoa, thank you, yes, thank you. And I don't really want anything. Like, I don't need my life to be pretty. I don't need a lot of money. I don't need amazing people. I don't need any of that. It would be nice to have it, and it effortlessly shows up in my life, but I don't need it. I never asked for it. It's just the way that the world works. It falls into my lap effortlessly, and it's really, I see that in what you just said. You didn't ask for any of it, but it just showed up for you, and you were just really willing to experience the process that you were in, and to really go where you were led to go.
Totally. And to be open to him, the sleeping with the ex-girlfriend is as much a gift as me walking into a New Year's Eve party filled with celebrities, by the way, which was so much fun and not at all planned. I was like, I got a tip about it and we just walked in. It's a beautiful story. But they're both the same. See, this to me, sleeping with ex-girlfriend, celebrity party, and amazing connections. No one is better or worse. Life is the gift. When I start getting in my head about, well, that was an awesome manifestation and this one wasn't, then I'm back to control and duality and forgetting that it's all for me. So whether it's limitless financial abundance coming into my life, or it's finding out I owe 10 times as much as I thought I did to taxes, to be able to go, this is all a gift, all of it, somehow. To me, that is freedom.
And it's practical, because oftentimes things that people also ask me is, well, but do you pay taxes? Or how does that work in real life? And don't you have to have goals? And don't you have to? And like you said, well, yeah, we do show up. It's just much more effective to not stay in the story and to not get stuck in, the mental complexity of thinking that things should be any certain way. And it's really effective because we see a reality as it is, and we're able to meet it there. We're able to show up and be like, here you are. I'm open.
Totally. Like, so I see money's one of my favorite subjects because to me it's one of the most fun games that exists on earth. But here's what another one of my teachers says is we play the money game. We don't let the money game play us. Like when the money game is playing me, I feel like trapped and stuck and checking my accounts every second. And like that's when it's playing me, I forgot that, no, I'm playing the game. I get to choose how to relate. It doesn't have to be so serious. And that, like, so I loved being the banker in Monopoly as a kid. And that, like, I still play in that way with money now. And it's so fun. It can be so fun. So I just, I share that with you because to me, that's my magical middle is, I don't deny that there's there's something that I created in my earthly realm called taxes, and there's something called bills, and there's something called, like doctor checkups. Oh my gosh, this last night I went on a date and this amazing guy, and he's like, but you can't deny, Cora, that like there's rent to pay and there's this to do. And I was like, I'm not denying any of that, but I'm just seeing it as all part of this game and creation and fun. And if I take it too seriously, that's when it works against me. That's when I forget who I am as a limitless being having an earthly realm experience. And I start to think I'm this human. And then it takes just a little like energy adjustment.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's amazing. So I would love to ask you a couple of other questions, some smaller questions. So who is someone you admire, dead or alive?
Oh, wow. I love that. Well, the one person that came up for me immediately is this man, Amir Zogi, who he's amazing. Amir, and then his last name is Zoghi. And he is one of my greatest mentors and teachers, and he's based in Australia. And he lives moment to moment, surrender, following the flow, one with the flow, more than almost anybody I've ever met. And he doesn't flash it all over. He just lives it, and it's amazing. So he's right away. He popped up first for me.
Awesome, thank you. What's the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is I am my own guru. So just to be aware. I mean, I love teachers, coaches, guides, books, and I continue to read and study and be a client and go on retreats. But I do it not because I don't feel like I have all the answers within, because I know I do, but because we all do. But I love the reflections. Like I love working with my coach because she reflects back what I know. Or I love going on retreats because I'm going to give myself space to drop into what I know. So the guru is within, though, and just to know that without any teachers or guides or retreats, I could drop into my truth and answers.
Beautiful. What's a book you love right now?
Oh, it's funny. I don't read a ton anymore, but a book I'm loving right now. I have them all over by my bed. Oh, well, I'll say this one. I'm reading The Secrets and Mysteries of Hawaii right now, which is all about the mystical energy of Hawaii, and a lot of people think Lemuria used to be here, the mystical land of Lemuria, and so it's really beautiful to read that because it gives me some continued affirmation as to why I was called to be here.
That's what I love most about books. I feel like oftentimes I just read books so that I hear from other people having the same experience as I.
Yes,
It's just what I love.
exactly.
It's so much fun to go, oh yes, I knew that. I
Mhm.
knew that.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Um, I have one more question and it just slipped my mind.
Mm.
Oh, I would love to also know, um, what's a place that's very special for you?
A place at Kauai. It's like this place. I've never felt home in a geographical location until this island. It blows me away. It's a magical kingdom. And I love it too. When I was little, I would watch Jurassic Park and say, like, I'm going to live there someday. And that was filmed here on the island. And I just knew I was going to come here sometime. And yeah, this is home.
Mm-hmm. Who would have known?
Who would have known? I had to get out of my own way, big
Mm-hmm.
time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation, for being as
Mm.
honest and as real as you tend to show up. So far, I've only seen you in that space. It's really amazing. Thank you so much, Cora.
You're so welcome, Hannah. Thank you.
So, everyone else, head on over to corapoage.com if you want to connect with her, send her an email, say hi, opt into her newsletter, check her out on Facebook. This is how you can connect with her. I'm also going to be posting those links in the show notes. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Let us know what you're taking away from the episode, and see you guys next week.